All right. Hey, World of Commodore 2025. Everybody's excited to be here? Right on, right on. Yeah, I'm excited too. So my name is Greg Nasu. I founded a company called Opcoders Inc. And my main product is C64 OS. This talk is called Ready for Internet Action. Okay. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the C64 received a lot of love this past year. So my hope is that you guys will have take the time to spend with your Commodore 64. For me personally, the promise of C64 OS is starting to take shape. And that shape is networked internet applications and utilities. So I'm going to give you guys kind of a year in review for what's happened this past 2025. I'm going to tell you about some system updates and new features. I'm going to show you or tell you about some new applications and new utilities. And I have to leave lots of time to give the actual demo. First, of course, I wanted to give a shout out to TPUG because this event is super epic and it's gotten better and better every year. So if you see a TPUG volunteer or worker, be sure to thank them. Well, thank you. Thank you for this great show. Yeah, so people probably know by now, if you've come to my talks before, that I like to keep busy. And this year has been no exception. I've been working very hard on C64 OS, and it's made some great strides. So last year at this show, I demoed a pre-release of version 1.07. And 1.07 was released in January of this year. And then I have made one more major release. Came out version 1.08 in this past summer. I've written 3 new applications, plus there are a bunch of updates and improvements to existing applications. I've written 8 new utilities, and there are some cool third-party utilities. So some of the features that I've added are kind of like long-awaited features, things I wanted to be in version 1.0, and they're finally now available in 1.08. 1.07 introduced networking, which I demoed here last year, and 1.08 makes networking more robust and adds new networking features and has new networking drivers that are faster and more stable and support more hardware. And along with improvements to the networking stack, I've written some great new proxy services that help the Commodore 64 to consume content from the internet. I'm going to show you some cool graphical stuff. And there are new communications abilities. And of course, there are also some great new ways to customize the operating system to your preferences. So in sum, C64 OS in 2025 brings new ways to communicate, new ways to integrate with the way the Commodore 64 naturally works, and new ways to explore the world. So here are some of the new features that have come this year. There's network socket pausing and resuming. There's improved memory management, a new configuration tool. There's new double density backdrops for the desktop. Tables from Wikipedia now render instead of just showing nothing. There are new input drivers, new network drivers. There have been a bunch of improvements to booting and auto-booting and rebooting and booting from a Commodore 128 and that sort of thing. You can name your desktops now, and there's an editor for your favorites. Another kind of neat thing is you can read release notes for each version that gets released inside the operating system. There's 360-degree panoramas, which I'm excited to show you. There's an integration with webcams, and there's a Google Maps integration, which I'm kind of excited to show too. There's a cool new feature called computer vision, and there's a chat client now for C64 OS. So, new applications. World Explorer is an application that lets you tune into webcams from cities around the world. Image search is an application for searching Google Image for graphics and downloading them directly from the internet with real-time customizable conversion options. This app has an integration with a feature called computer vision, and this is the thing that's integrated with Google Maps. Wikipedia and Desktop Designer are both faster, more stable, and have new features. And this is the one I'm really excited about. ReadyChat is an instant messenger between ReadyChat users, but it also includes something called Ready, which is an internet-powered assistant that's back-ended by over 35 plugins, including ChatGPT. Okay, so let us get into the demo. So you can come to my table out on the showroom floor, and you can see all of this stuff, and you can try it out on actual machines if you want. So the first thing I wanted to show is this is a cool new utility created by a third-party developer, Rebecca from Creative Corp. So this is a kind of a character palette picker, and it also lets you see what the character set is in this particular application. So you can copy even like graphical characters, and you can copy them to the clipboard, and you can paste them into text fields. It's pretty neat. But this also here shows that there are these customizable, there are these 14 custom characters here and here that allow us to make bitmap graphics that are 80 pixels by 50 pixels on the text screen. And this can be used for making higher density background images in App Launcher that look more graphical. So let me give you an example of that. Here, desktop 2. So, you can see that like the backdrops are kind of meant to have these sort of cool graphical things. This is an example, but it looks quite blocky because we're in the character mode, and these pixels are really just being made of solid character blocks. So now, though, we can go to change our backdrop, and I've put out a media pack of backdrops that make use of this custom character set to make backdrops that are a little bit more graphical. So here is a fun example. It's pretty funny, right? So anyway, you can see that the pixel is just a little bit smaller to give you a more graphical appearance. So let me give you another example. I think this one looks really cool. There you go. It's pretty cool, right? Yeah. So you can make these yourself as well, or I've released this media pack with a bunch of them. So let me just pick one more. This guy here I think looks pretty cool. So we can also, of course, change the colors. So let's say I'll pick green. And another new feature in App Launcher this year now is you can now invert your backgrounds right from a menu option. So every background has kind of a regular and inverted form, which is kind of neat. Okay, so in addition to changing our backdrops like this and getting new higher density backdrops, you see how these desktops are numbered 1 through 5? Well, now we can rename our desktops. So there's a desktop menu, we can say rename. And here we can just put in names like, let's say, welcome, and then games. Utilities. Productivity. And I'll call this one workspace. So we just close this window now if we're satisfied with that. And it renames our desktops here. And if we pick like a file here to move or copy, so you can see that you can move or copy these to named desktops. Okay, so now I'll head on over to my workspace desktop. So this utility here is a new one that I'm working on. I haven't released this yet. It's called About This C64. And if you're familiar with like the Apple System Profiler, maybe from System 7, it's a lot like that. So it gives you information that's auto-detected about this machine. So it can tell if it's on a Commodore 64 or 128, what version of the operating system you have. And it shows the CPU you're running and its speed. And the speed varies depending on if you're on NTSC or PAL. And it detects your video mode. It can see that I have a Jiffy DOS kernel and what version that is and how much RAM I have in RAM expansion. And it also lists our storage devices and even our network settings. So I am hoping to expand this to be able to detect more hardware and show other kinds of hardware. I think these things are cool. And you also have these little buttons that you see every so often. So the buttons will open utilities that are relevant to the kind of information that the button is beneath. So for this button here, we see the version of the operating system. We can click this button and it opens this utility, which gives us more information. So this particular utility here has been around since version 1.0, but in version 1.08, we have this new button here called Read Notes. So we just click Read Notes, and it opens the release notes for this version of the OS in the Presenter app. So the Presenter app I introduced it last year. It was written by Eric Vanderteer, and starting in version 1.08, the free version of Presenter is now bundled with the operating system, and it's got some new features like it's got cool new keyboard shortcuts, or keyboard commands rather, to make it easy to navigate, and you can read the release notes of the operating system inside the operating system. Briefly? It's using a custom kind of markup language that I call mtext. Yeah. Okay, so now let's head on over to the file manager. Okay, so this is the file manager, and in the sidebar here we have our recents. This is our list of recently open files, and we can click this header to toggle recents to be favorites. And so these are favorite places. And you can click on these to hop quickly to your favorite places. And these can be basically any device, any partition, any directory, and you can just jump directly to that spot. Now, the ability to add favorite places has been around since version 1.0. So what you do is you're in a directory, like I want to add this updates directory to my favorites. So I go Options, Add Favorite, and I get this now at the bottom of the list. And now I can easily jump to this directory anytime. However, up until version 1.08, you haven't been able to edit your favorites. So you'd add the favorites, and then you had no way to change them. Well, now we can go Options, Favorites, and we got this cool new utility, which is the Favorites Editor. And we can just click on the one that we just added. We can click this up button to move its position. And when we close the window, boom, we've rearranged our favorites. And also, we can get rid of any favorite that we don't want anymore very easily. Just say, pick this one that we want to remove, click Remove, close the window, and it's gone. So I think that the ability to actually manage your favorites like that is going to make this feature a lot more useful. Okay, next, we're going to go over to our games directory. So, these are some games that I have installed, and I think I showed in a previous year that there was an update to the PRG runner utility for being able to run regular C64 software from within C64 OS. So just right from the file menu, we could say PRG runner and just click Run, and so PRG runner analyzes the file and tries to figure out if it thinks that this PRG file is actually a program that can be run. There's no audio, eh? Why is that? There's no audio on the... No audio. Oh. There we go. So we just push the little reset button, and boom, we're back in the operating system, right? And we can go and we can do that with some other game like this. Just pick another game, click the Run button, and the operating system is stored in the REU. and boom, we can launch into a game like this. Okay, pretty cool, right? And so to get back to the operating system, I just hit the reset button, and we're back here. Now, the Commodore 64 is actually a bit complicated, though, in that it has not every PRG file is actually a runnable program. Sometimes they're graphics or sound or something else. And also there's different ways to run programs. So PRG runner really kind of errs on the side of caution, and if it can't be sure that this is a program that can be run, it actually won't let you run it. Now there is a solution for this, which is to use a PRG alias. So starting in version 1.0, I had a program called PRG alias creator, but it was written in BASIC, and it was kind of janky, and you had to leave the operating system to run it, and so on. So now I've created a new utility called PRG alias maker, and so we'll open that. And PRG alias maker makes it super easy to create aliases to programs. So for example, this whole path to where this file actually is auto filled in based on the selected file in File Manager. The name of the alias is based on the name of the file, but we can change the name of the alias if we want to make it, say, a little bit more kind of user-friendly. We can give it a more user-friendly name. And there are advanced options that you can set up with this utility that I don't really have time to go into, but you can now use this utility to set those options. So if the program is the kind of program that you just type run at the ready prompt in order to run it, then you would check this button. But since this program is one where you would type sys, you just deselect run, and you click create, and that's all it takes to create a PRG alias. So PRG aliases get saved into the PRG aliases directory. So in the system directory, PRG aliases, and you can see that this is the alias that I just created. Now, I want to add this alias to my desktop. So what that means is that from App Launcher, I'm going to want to get access to this directory. So I can say add this to my favorites, just to show how we can actually use this in a real scenario. Now I'll pop over to App Launcher. And I want to add that's a utility, so I want to add that to my utilities desktop. And lo and behold, now I've got named desktop, so I know where I'm going. And to add an alias, we'll say file add alias. That skull really needs to get the double density treatment. And so you can see here that inside App Launcher, favorites has PRG aliases, and so we can very quickly get to this file that we want. And so this is kind of an example of how your favorites appear in the sidebar in the open dialog of other applications. So here is my alias that I just added, and we can double click that. And here you see that PRG runner is showing us the information that got captured by the PRG alias maker. And we can just click run, and we can run this kind of utility that is maybe not opened in a regular way. So it's machine language monitor. So we hit the button, and we're back in the operating system. Okay. So the next thing that I want to show you, I am very excited about. I have been working on READYChat since kind of late summer. So READYChat is an instant messenger, and it has a list of your friends or contacts on the side here. And to chat with one of these people, we simply click their name, and we get our chat conversation with that person appearing over here. So this particular user that I'm chatting with is Jim Kirk. So Jim Kirk is the user that I've got logged in on my C64 luggable out on the table there. So if you want to see kind of live messages going back and forth between the two users, you can come and check this out at my table. So we have a scroll back buffer of our conversation, like this, and we have this chat field down here, and we can simply say, I'm doing great. And that gets sent to that person right away. Now, you don't have to be online at the same time. messages get saved on the server, and so if a message comes into me, right? If a message were to come into me right now from one of these other people that I'm not focused on, I'll hear an alarm like boom, boom, and their name goes to the top of the list. So the names in the list are ordered by the recency with which I've chatted with that person. And if I'm offline and a message comes in, when I sign in, names will appear in blue if there are any unread messages. And you can just click on them and you can see the messages and you can reply. Yes. Yeah. Yep. So you can. Yeah. So you can collapse this entirely if you want more room for the chat, or you can see the full names of the people and so on. Yeah. And the text in here is live wrapping. So in addition to chatting with these other humans, you can also chat with Ready. So Ready can be used to help you interact with ReadyChat itself. So for example, if I want to search for a user, I can search for, say, Kirk as a name, and it finds a person's name. So if you have a friend and you know that they are a user, you can search for them by name or email address or handle. And I can say, who is J. Kirk, to get a little bit more information about this person. You can configure your email address to be hidden as well. So if this person were not on my list and I wanted to send them a message for the first time, like initiate a conversation, you start from Ready and you use the message command, and then we can say, J. Kirk, how are you, my captain? Like so. And that would actually put their name on the list at the top of the list, and then from then on, their name will be in this list. And you can see that message is there. Okay, now, in addition to these sort of built-in commands for searching for users and starting conversations with users, Ready also has a plug-in architecture which gives us a whole bunch of other commands, a growing vocabulary of commands. So I can say help list, and I get this list of commands here. There are actually over 35 plugins so far and growing. And so we can also ask for help about a given topic. So let's say today. I can say help today, and I get a little information about how that works. I get a little description, like you can read about what happened today, and you get the arguments that you can use, optional arguments you can use. So I can say just type today, and this gives me something that happened on this day in a year in the past. It's kind of neat, right? Okay, so let's try another one. I can say weather, Toronto, CA. And here we have a live weather forecast for today for this place that I've asked for. The temperature, the rain, and the wind. And you can ask, so you can put in any location, and you can ask for a date in the future up to 7 days. This plugin is pulling its information from the OpenMedia API on the internet. So let's try another one here. Say stocks AAPL. Check out how rich Apple is. And we can say stocks MSFT. And we can say, Apple is richer than Microsoft. Good. Okay. Or not, depending on who you are. So now, in addition to these, which can get kind of useful information, there are also some that are just sort of for fun. Like, we could say 8-ball. Am I going bald? Oh, very doubtful. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Or we could say 8-ball. Is the C64 better than the Spectrum? You better give me the right answer, 8-ball. Yes! Excellent. It demoed so well. So it's a magic 8-ball, right? It's pretty fun. So there's lots of these plugins. But The one that I think people will find really cool is ChatGPT. So we can just say ChatGPT, and then we can say when was the Commodore 64 released, and what did it cost? Just a random question like that. And lo and behold, we get back an immediate answer from ChatGPT, giving us hopefully correct information. So the context is not maintained from question to question, but you can send as many individual questions as you want to it, and you get back what we call instant answers, and they can be very useful. So, for example, I could say, ChatGPT, who was Plato's most famous student, and why? Just as an example, something. And so you can use it to actually do pretty cool stuff, right? Now, you can also ask ChatGPT to get some information, which you can then feed into some other plugin. So, for example, I could say, ChatGPT, give me some cool sci-fi movies from the 1980s. Okay. And lo and behold, it gives us some cool movies. Now, so there's another plugin, Movie. So this is not ChatGPT now. This is another plugin, the Movie plugin. So we can say movie info Blade Runner, and we get a cool little piece of information about the movie. We can even say, movie plot Blade Runner. And so this plugin is reaching out and connecting to the Open Movie Database API. So it's pretty cool, right? It's neat. Yeah. So it's pretty useful already. In that the number of users you can chat with are only C64 users right now, but Ready is already pretty useful. So here's another interesting thing that it can do. I'm going to say timer, 45 seconds, the long wait. Okay, and I'll say timer, 10 seconds, short wait. And now I've set 2 timers, and I've given them different times and different labels. And we can actually use plugins while the timers are running. And when the timer goes off, we get this. And we hit the stop button to stop it. And we see the label of what timer that was and how long it was. And we can ask for things like, definition to a word. And so these timers are running concurrently, and you can use other plugins while the timers are going. And there we are. There you go. It's pretty cool, right? Yeah. So this is these are being powered by the ReadyChat server. Yeah. Yeah, so the things that ReadyChat can do is continually growing because I'm writing new plugins, and other people can write other plugins and submit them, and it's pretty cool. It's also the plugins can be written in any script language that runs on Linux. The ones I've written are written in Node.js. It's also cool because it gives the information in a way which is well suited to a small computer. And you can actually even you can use ReadyChat at like 1200 BPS, and it actually feels pretty fast because it's only sending a small amount of data and getting a small amount of data back. Okay, the next app I want to show is called Image Search. So Image Search lets us search Google Images for various for whatever we want. So I'm going to look for a logo that is vaguely circular, or that we know of as being circular. And Now, I had my demo all planned out, and the problem with Google search is that it's not the same search result but I came here and the search result is not the same search result. So let's see if this will work. Okay. So there's an example of a graphic that was just downloaded directly from the internet with live conversion. Now, the problem is that this is supposed to be a circle, and it doesn't really looks kind of oblong, right? Now, this problem is because the Commodore 64 does not have square pixels. And the problem is exacerbated by the fact that different screens, like this LCD, stretch and compress the screen of a Commodore 64. So the answer to this problem is something called aspect ratio correction. And what you do is you open a calculator and you use something like this, a handy measuring tape. And because that screen is so big and so far away, I measured it last night. And it is, so what you do is you measure the width of the border to border, the inside of the borders. And I measured this as being 55. And then you measure and you divide that by the height. And so that's from the top of the menu bar to the bottom of the status bar. And I measured that as being 32. And you get back a ratio number like 1.7. And so then what you do is you come down to this aspect ratio button and you click these and you look for the value which most closely matches the ratio that your screen is. Now, the closest that I have is 1.6. So I'll set this to 1.6. And now I will re-download this graphic. And now, I hope you can notice, but the circle looks much more circular. So that's pretty cool. And I think this is maybe even a first on the Commodore 64 to have this kind of aspect ratio correction in real time. So now let's search for something else. I'll search for Porsche 911 Turbo. So we get our search results in this table, and we could scroll through the list. We get our dimensions, so we can sort by these columns. We can resize the columns. And so I'm going to download this guy here. And in this lower half of the screen, we have all kinds of conversion options. So we can say flip it vertically or horizontally. We can adjust its brightness and contrast. We can adjust its aspect ratio as I showed. You can rotate the image in 90-degree increments. You can change the dithering options and the bit mapping options and so on. And you can get some pretty slick graphics. That one I think looks really awesome. And of course it is aspect ratio corrected. So let me try one more. This one, let's say Gillian Anderson, young, because she's awesome. And I just totally binge watched all of the X-Files. Now, the only problem here also is I had one picked out that I thought looked really cool. And yeah, let's try this one here. This one I think looks pretty cool. Yeah, the one, of course, I picked out when I was practicing is not available when you're in Toronto when you go to Google Image, because Google Image gives you different results for every place that you're in. So here's a pretty cool picture of Gillian Anderson. So what I wanted to show here is, you note that these resolutions are much higher than what can be displayed on a Commodore 64. And so they are, of course, being scaled down, but that means that there is actually more resolution to the image than we're actually seeing here. So there's a great feature of image search where you can actually drag a box around a portion of the image like this, and it will refetch the image, and it zooms in on the contents that are in the box, giving you more clarity and higher quality image. Yes, sir.
Now, does this work for all images or just Gillian Anderson?
Yeah, it only works for Gillian Anderson. Yeah. Yeah, so there's some great images out there where it shows like the cast of a Star Trek show, and you see all their little faces around the station or something, and you can just drag a box around one of their little faces, and boom, you can pick any one of their faces. Now, you can of course adjust these settings to get the image sort of to look better, depending on what the image is. And when you get it to look the way you want, including a zoomed in version of it is now kind of a cropped version that's in memory, you can save this file to disk for later. You can't zoom in from a zoom in. If you click on the image, it'll go back to the original, and then you can draw a smaller box and you can zoom in on like an eyeball or something. Yeah. Okay. So the next thing that I wanted to show you is a pretty cool feature. So we all have probably a smartphone in our pocket, and it has a camera. And so wouldn't it be cool if we could use our smartphone's camera as a kind of, 8-bit digital camera? So I've created an app called Computer Vision, and UI looks like this, and we just tap this digital eye button. And we can take a selfie, okay, and hit use that photo. And there's a code that gets printed on the screen. And you just type that code into here. So CV is for computer vision. Oops. And then I set this one up. So you set up your own kind of private code. So I put in World of Commodore 2025, and you get a search result for that. And when you double click that, we get a selfie of us. And of course, you can also zoom in. So I don't know who this person is here, but we can zoom in on this face here. It's pretty cool, right? Yeah, it's pretty neat. Okay, so let me show you something else now. File manager. I'll go to utilities. So this is another utility. It was created by a third-party developer. This one was also actually created by Rebecca from Creative Corp. It's called Lamps Off. I don't know if you know this game, but this is a puzzle game. It's got 50 levels that you can choose, and the object of the game is to click on the squares, and there's a pattern with which the lights get inverted, and the goal is to turn off all of the lights, and that's how you beat the level. And it tells you the minimum number of moves for each level, and it also records your personal best for each level. And when you close this, it remembers that, and so you try to get the minimum number of you start by trying to just solve it, period. And then once you figure out how to solve it, you try to get as close to the target minimum as possible. So that's just an example of a cool new puzzle game written by a third-party developer. Okay, so the next thing I want to show is we're going to go over here to pictures. Going to go into Commodore Graphics, and we're going to go into here, and we're going to open this guy here. Now, this does take a minute or so to load in. I think it's less than a minute, but so there's a website called 360cities.net, and they have tens of thousands of 360-degree panoramas from taken all over the world. And I have written back-end software to integrate with them and to convert their file format into the Commodore graphics file format. And so here we are, and we have this picture of the inside of a church somewhere, and you get this cursor like this, and look at this, you can just drag this, and you can spin in 360 degrees all the way back around to the beginning, and you just keep going, and you can also go in reverse. It's pretty cool, right? Yeah. So anyway, I've converted a bunch of these so far. Like I've converted I've converted these ones so far, but it's really easy to convert them because the backend software does it for you. And so I'm going to release these as a media pack, and yeah. Okay, so another thing I wanted to show you is this here. I have shown in previous years that it's possible to convert animation sequences into the Commodore graphics file format. I even made a YouTube video kind of showing the steps of everything you have to do with all the frames, but it was a very manual process. And now I have written server-side software for converting any animated GIF into the Commodore graphics file format. And you can adjust the conversion options at the time of conversion. And there you go. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. So I have shown one of these kind of animated GIFs before, but this is really to show that we can now convert them just in like 2 seconds, and they get converted. You can also reduce the frame rate on them if you want to. If they're too long, you can reduce the frame rate in order to get more of it, but at a slightly lower frame rate. Okay, so the last thing that I have time to show you is we're going to go back into, where am I going to go? App Launcher? We're going to go back into image search. Now, so we saw that in this search box, we can just type in a keyword and we search Google Image and get some graphics we can download. But you can also see that by using a kind of a URL like this, we can integrate with other services. So I have never shown this to anybody before. I've just been working on it recently. So you guys right here are the first people ever to see this. You can type maps : / and then put in a place like Toronto. And what you get here is the search results are a bunch of zoom levels. So I like to, I'm going to change the configuration options. I like 2x2, and I like a radius of 4, because I've played around with this before. And although changing the aspect ratio does distort the image a little bit, I like it to go full screen. So I'm going to go back to an aspect ratio of 1. We have color palette options. And so I'm going to choose the palette because I think it looks good for maps. So we're going to start by clicking on the continent level. And you can see that we are downloading a Google map. And you can even see the Google property logo. And so this is at the zoom level of kind of like the continent. And Toronto would be, therefore, right dead center in this. And then we can go to another zoom level, like, say, the district. And now we are zoomed in on this, this part of Toronto. And you can also, let me go to region, actually. So you can also change into high resolution, and you can even zoom in on a part of the map like this. Oh, and then this is in high res instead of multicolor, and so you can see sort of better definition at the expense of some little color artifacts like that. Pretty cool, right? So let me show one. Let me show another place. I'll go Tokyo. Whoops, that's not how you spell Tokyo. Tokyo, Japan. And for this one, I'll say, let me change this to. I'll say the country. Here we get the country. And we can also zoom in on that and see sort of some neat details about this city. It's pretty cool, right? Okay, and truly the last thing that I have time to show is that in addition to searching for places, you can also search for points of interest. So we could say Eiffel Tower, like that. And here we can say, oh, I don't know, the district. And so even though I have actually searched for Eiffel Tower, we're getting Paris because presumably the Eiffel Tower is going to be right smack in the middle of this image. And if we go to the highest level of zoom, which is the building level, it switches into satellite mode. And so this is the satellite image of the Eiffel Tower coming off Google Maps. Yeah. So yeah, that's yeah. There you go. Yeah.
You're able to do the 360 panorama, and you're also able to access Google's Maps and everything. Do you see a possibility in the future to be able to integrate a street view?
It's possible. It's possible. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Two questions. First, living in the States, I live in Conestoga, Pennsylvania, U.S., and Conestoga, U.S. So is it you put the state or you put the state in the country?
Yeah. So the format is town, comma, country, and then you can also put a dash following the country and a state or province code. So like, for example, there's like a Houston that's not in Texas. I tried it with that. I tried Houston. I was like, oh, this isn't Houston, Texas. And but you can put in a dash and then the state name, and it'll customize.
US, not USA.
No, it's US. Yeah.
All right. Second question is the app you took a picture with.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
Computer vision. Yeah, it's a web app that I haven't really tested it well on Android, but it is a web app, so it should work.
Is it on Apple?
No, it's there are instructions for how to get to it and install it in the user's guide for World Explorer, and you can find that on the C64OS.com website. I can give you better directions after. Yeah.
So does this all work on the Commodore 128? And if so, do you get higher resolution graphics?
No, this is C64 OS. So it'll run on a Commodore 128, but it's running, it's using it as a C64.
The chat server.
Yes.
Where is it? Who pays for it?
Right. So I host it. So last year when I introduced this stuff, I said that there's a Commodore Network Protocol server, and I host that, but it's also open source. And so I charge a nominal fee of $1.50 a month or $15 a year to access that server. But it's also open source, so you can install it on your own hardware if you want. But part of that monthly fee or whatever also is to access all these other services that I keep building, like the Google Maps integration, and these actually are paid for. Like the Google Maps integration is like a developer account. It's not expensive or anything, but yeah, they're paid. Same with ChatGPT. Yeah. Yeah.
Question. How does it look different? Does it look differently on the flat screen versus like a CRT monitor?
CRTs always look better. Everything looks like, cooler on a CRT. And also, when the screen's only this big or whatever, Gillian Anderson's face looks fantastic. It looks much more pixelated when it's on a screen that's enormous. Yeah. Okay? All right. Thanks a lot.